Hi, Matt and Brandon here at Maddie's Auto Repair LLC in Niagara. Just wanted to go over a real simple, easy one here, and again touch on the diagnostic portion of the job. I know there's a lot of people in the area, a lot of my customers. They don't always listen when it comes to diagnostics. A lot of people want to get something for free, or they want a quick answer. They want to get something off of Google and just get it fixed and back on the road. But it's not always that's not always the case. And this isn't this 2003 Dodge Ram was towed in for a crank no start. It turns out to be something simple, but my point is we follow our process here and we follow it on every single vehicle that comes in because I don't like wasting people's time and money. I don't think people like their time and money being wasted, and I get a good chance to take my apprentice here and train him up on some of the ins and outs in this industry. And I think another good sticking point to kind of go along with the fact that backs up the fact you should be paying for some decent diagnostics through a good technician, a good shop, whether it's me or somebody else that goes through their paces. Here specifically, I don't upcharge the parts. I don't make a dime on them. So if you have to pay a little bit of diagnostics up front to make sure that you get the correct part installed, the correct thing diagnosed, and get back on the road as fastly as you possibly can here, I think that's an important key to point out. So we have this 2003 Dodge Ram that was towed in for a crank no start. I had previously checked some other items that led us to the fuel tank. I had checked fuel pressure at the rail. We didn't have any. I'd worked on this truck previously. I know we don't have any fuel line issues or anything like that going on, but I'll turn it over to Brandon here. And then I would like to also explain some other items that we use here that some other places in town don't necessarily use. So Brandon, why don't you tell us what you were after here?
I started by lowering the fuel tank, and then after that I went over to the computer to look at Identifix to get the pinout for the fuel pump control module, and then I
Fuel
grabbed
pump connector
fuel pump.
at the fuel pump module.
Yeah, and then I grabbed the load cage and I hooked up the positive to the positive and the ground to the ground, and then when we cranked over the truck, it did light up pretty bright.
So Brandon, why don't you crawl up there and we'll show them. And this is where just simple test we have, and my multitude of diagnostic tools that I pay for and get. I've got quite the toolbox full of electronic stuff. Go ahead and key it up. And you see we have a halogen bulb that Brandon has connected to the fuel pump circuit. And we're verifying that we have basic power and ground. And it's important to take the time to do that because 9 times out of 10, yeah, on a Chevy and Dodge specifically, probably the fuel pump. Probably be a safe bet to throw it in, but I'm telling you that one time or those 2 times out of 10, I just ran into a wiring issue a couple months ago. It was a wiring issue. It was a simple wiring repair. The customer wanted me to throw the fuel pump at it, and I wouldn't. Because I take my time here and I use the tools that I've gathered and the knowledge. And then we also use this software that I have purchased. Why don't you come on down, Brandon? So part of my low overhead that I have here, one of my most important tools that I pay for on a monthly subscription is Identifix. This is a tool that a lot of shops should have. Pretty much all the dealers that I work for, they either had this or Pro Demand or some version of it. But this is important because I've heard of shops in the area that just pull out their cell phone, open up Google and start Googling issues, Googling codes, Googling diagrams. The vehicles nowadays, now this 2003 may not necessarily fall into this category, but there's different engine options, there's different wiring options, there's different options across the entire vehicle. And Brandon used a couple of different things that we have. This one I pay for, another one we'll show you that I get for free. But Brandon just kind of explained what you did. So you go into Identifix and you're typing in
Basically I just searched up the fuel pump connector pinout.
After he had put the VIN in and built the vehicle to Identifix. So we verify that we have all the options correct, and then go ahead, Brandon.
And then, yeah, once I had found the pinout, I mean, I have to do a little bit of scrolling, but and here it is. It shows what all 4 of the wires go to.
So Brandon basically knows, and again, this is a real simple circuit, real simple truck. They're not all like that, especially these newer vehicles nowadays. Things are getting more complicated. Fuel pump module on a 2020 and up Silverado or a Ram or something like that. You may have 5, 6, 8 wires in there. You may have a fuel pump module that things go to before they go to the fuel pump. So it's important to start at the component, kind of know where you're going, which I knew from the lack of fuel pressure. And then if we had a module and we had no power here, then we'd start backtracking. I don't rely on Google. I pay for the software so I can get connector pinouts, diagrams, procedures, all that stuff. And I get it diagnosed, and I get it diagnosed right down to the component. That eliminates comebacks. That eliminates wasting people's time and energy and money, as well as mine. And then another important tool that we've used is, it's a real simple tool. It's kind of free to me, but RepairLink is something that the dealerships and basically pay for, from what I understand, in shops like us. We get a chance to subscribe and create an account. But Brandon had looked up a fuel pump module. We're not just technicians here. We're not just fixing the changing out the parts, I should say, and diagnosing it. We also have to look the parts up. Small shop, small whatever. Brandon, it was asking for options, correct?
Oh yeah, it had I think a 26-gallon tank and a 34-gallon tank.
So when you go up and you start looking at Napa or whoever, you may be getting it from CarQuest, O'Reilly's, doesn't matter. It's asking for options, and it's important. Google sometimes is not your friend. I can say that a million times, and people can laugh at me all they want. But again, paying for the Identifix, having the RepairLink, having the professional accounts that I have through Napa and CarQuest and all that, we've narrowed it down. Brandon had to do a quick, simple search, putting the VIN into the RepairLink, and then he can come up with the VIN attributes, and then boom, he's got the size of the fuel tank it was built with. No more wasted time, no more anything. But that's what you pay for when you come to Maddie's Auto Repair LLC. I don't mess around. Again, we diagnose it right down to the component whenever we can. If there's something special going on, I have conversations with my customers. I am good at communication. And then we go from there. But I cannot preach diagnostics enough. It is extremely important. And the fact that the customers that do come to me, I don't make a penny on the parts, and that is not going to change in the near future. And think about it this way: whatever money you're not spending towards the parts because you're getting my discount, you can be spending towards a little bit of diagnostics, and making sure it's done right and fixed right the first time. Thank you.